Hello, everyone! Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief! I'm not quite sure how the recording started. I'm going to wait for YouTube to kick in here just to make sure that everything's working fine. And welcome back to the Hello, Bob. Nice to see you over there on YouTube. Hello, Meow. Meow, 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 meow. So good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Frivolity. Oh, man, what a crazy market this is, eh? Up and down like you know what's, and coming into big celestial events, I can really feel the tension in the market just coiling, coiling, coiling. Um, but another day in the market, another episode of the Daily Brief, and of course today is Thursday, which means it's Baby Powder Report Day.
Woohoo, baby powder!
Yeah, there he
Actually,
is.
I
There's
got a
Miss.
funny story about baby powder once it's my turn to talk.
Okay, well, sounds like you just took over. Go for it. Anyway, good morning,
Okay,
Julia.
okay, okay. Good morning.
Welcome to the
Good
show,
morning.
and really, I like the idea of Thursdays being Julian's Day, and it's kind of cool. We saw a whole bunch of people pile all in here, so obviously Julian's got a cult following on the site, which is awesome. Um, I think I actually, frankly speaking, I really like the idea of Thursday just being Julian's Day. So if you want to jump right in and tell us what you're thinking, if there's a little bit of time left over at the end, I can always do a little bit of commentary on what I've been seeing today. But I want to know first off. Let's hear the baby powder story. Once upon a time, and then second off, how does that kick you into trading mode? I don't know. I'm just being
Well,
stupid. Anyway,
okay.
go for it.
So, for anybody new listening on the site, the reason this is called the baby powder report is because when I first started doing this with Brian, I had just moved to Thailand, and in Thailand, it can be very hot. And I was walking around a lot, not driving anymore. I'm used to driving a car, but in Thailand, I'm in Bangkok in a city. So I'm walking around, and when you walk around a lot in a hot environment, sometimes you get rashes and things happen that just chafing, stuff happens that you don't expect, and you have to use something called baby powder, and that makes honestly everything better. It really helps. Um, and since then, after about like a month, I didn't really need the baby powder, and I seemed to acclimate. But I took a trip to Taiwan about 2 weeks ago, and in Taiwan, I did even more walking, and I forgot about the baby powder, and I got a little bit of chafing again. And so for the past 2 weeks, I've been having to again use baby powder, and I found out that they have many, many different types of baby powder here. There's cooling baby powder. There's various baby powders that smell good. There's what other baby powders? There's like some charcoal like cleansing baby powder. And yeah, so in the future, I think I'm always going to keep a little bit of baby powder with me because you never know when the chafing is going to strike. So that's my little little like personal update. They do have a strawberry smelling baby powder, Rob. Actually, I know all about all the different ones now. I'm a baby powder expert. Um, what else has happened to me personally? I always like to give you guys personal updates. Weather's been amazing here in Thailand. It's been like during the day like around 80 and actually not that high humidity. Uh, I'm not gonna give any kind of updates on my love life. Love life is good. It's stable. Let's just say that. Uh, um, let's see what else can I tell you guys about? Anything is exciting? No, I think that's it. Next week I'll have a different story though. Let me close these pop-ups. Keep happening. Sorry guys. Next week I will have another story. I'll make sure for you guys. I might even have a video or two. I think I might be going to an island this weekend just for a day. So maybe I'll try to get a video with my drone or just the GoPro, and I can show you guys just for fun. Anyway, you're not here to listen to me talk about just baby powder. I should probably talk about the market a little bit. Um, Brian, do you want to say anything about a market, or should I just jump into it?
Just tell us what's on your mind. They're here to hear you.
What did Colleen ask? How many coffees can you buy with the Thai baht? Well, it depends on where you get your coffee, Colleen. If you get it on the street from a street shop, you could potentially buy. Why does this keep popping up? I'm sorry. Hold on. Quiz. Okay. You could potentially buy one coffee for 30 Thai baht. And if you buy it in a store, there's like coffee shops in malls and stuff. Like a normal non-brand name coffee shop is like 90 baht, which is like $3. But if you go to Starbucks or something else called like the Coffee Club, it's the same price as it is in the U.S. It's going to be like $5 to $7. So it's 130 to 40 baht to 200 baht. Yeah, some places you go to, it's same as USA prices, if not more. It really depends on the area. The only way you can get like the cheap Thailand prices that they talk about online everywhere is if you eat at like street food stalls outside. And most of the time those are okay, but you're not going to get air conditioning or anything. It's not going to be as clean. So if you want like the nicer, fancier places and restaurants, you're going to pay a little bit more for most places. And if you go to fancier areas, it's going to be USA prices. I often see, 300 to 400 baht for a meal. So that's $10 to $15, $10 to $12. Well, 300 to 500 is 10 to 15. So yeah. All right. That's the end of my, the strawberry baby powder is very cheap. Baby powder is very cheap here, Rob. Don't worry about that. Okay, back to talking about, how would I talk about the stock market? Let's talk about, what do I want to talk about? Why don't you guys tell me? You want to talk about the trading competition in Bitcoin first, or you want to talk about the S&P 500 and the stock market? Okay, Rob says SPY. Anybody else?
Why don't we do stock market? I think you should like sort of get into a regular routine so people kind of know what to expect rather than sort of ad lib. So I like you had a very regular routine. I guess first you talked about S&P, then some stocks, then Thai baht, gold, that kind of stuff.
All right, the boss has spoken. S&P it is. So we had this breakdown right here. You can see, I'm pretty sure I talked about this. Let's see. Let's check this. Hold on. Okay, so look at what happened here on December 2nd. Which was, what day was that? What day was December 2nd? Was that Monday? Yeah, Monday. So you had a breakdown, and look at this massive break through the RSI. Confirmation of that break on December 2nd. To me, this is an extremely bearish signal. I love that I'm seeing this. Finally, the S&P might go down a little bit. So for me, I'm hunting shorts now. This is my go signal to start hunting shorts again. So I want to see either a little bit of a rebound, or even this area to me is okay to start hunting shorts with a stop, up here at 316 or something like that, above the highs. I love this breakdown, and whenever this happens, it usually does roll over. Like you can see here, we had a breakdown and it rolled over. We got a good 15, we'll say 10 to 15 point drop. Same again here. Here it is, and then you made your higher low, but a higher high in the price. And then you had your breakdown. And how much did you move from the high to the low? 20, almost 20 points, So I expect the same thing to happen here. Now, when exactly it will happen, I don't know. Normally it will take, so here's our break here. And when did it finally happen? It took it took 2 weeks this time. And then when it broke here, it took 1 week. And then about 2 weeks before we got the final drop. This was about 2.5. So I think we're going to get, 2 or 3 more days, maybe of this, and then we'll start dropping, or we might sit up here a little bit longer. So 3 to 10 days, 3 to 10 business days, I think, before we get our drop. And if you look at the apricot report, I wanted to show you guys. I looked at this earlier. Okay, so here's our calls at 315, so we're not going above that, and here's our puts at 310. So that's probably why we didn't drop much today, and we even rallied a little bit off these lows back on December 3rd. They're not going to let it close down here when you've got a huge wall of puts at 310. And then what I wanted to do is look at Oops, I wanted to pull up my calendar here. Okay, so I wanted to look at the 13th and the 20th for the puts and calls. So here's the 13th. And we've got calls again, 315, and puts at 310. So we might get, we've got a lot of puts here, blocking it from rolling over. So they might hold it in this range from 310 to 315 going through next week. And then
there's lots of puts there at 315 though too, eh?
And look at here at 1220. Is 1220 the monthly? It must be the monthly.
Yeah. But
yeah, look at how many puts we've got
on that
here.
last series, there was quite a few puts there. So.
Wait, what? Really? Oh yeah! Wow, look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they probably want to keep it up somewhere up top here.
Yeah, they're gonna want to keep it around here. I don't think it's gonna drop next week. So I think we're looking at more like around 7 to 10 days before the drop. But if we go to 1220, look at this. Yeah. 305, 300. Look at the 305. But look at the calls at 310. So this is what I'm thinking. Based on this, I'm thinking we're gonna see something like this. Boop 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 boop. Okay, 222, and then a drop like that before we stop around 305. And then after December 20th here, I'm not sure what's gonna happen yet. We're gonna have to see. It's kind of like predicting the weather. The further you get out, the harder it gets to predict it. So we're gonna have to see what happens after December 20th. But I think, before we're not gonna go below 305 before December 20th. But I think we will get down to that level. And then after December 20th, we might finally get our drop. We'll go do. But we might not. I mean, it is December 20th, Christmas time, Santa Claus rally. Who knows?
I like the idea of the market just working its way up top here into 1 year anniversary. I mean, you all saw Bitcoin did that, like literally pivot to pivot, almost exactly 1 year. So here we are. They're probably going to park the market right up top here into Christmas and then get ready next year. Oh boy, what a mess. All the stars are aligned. Where's Shane and his Saturn Pluto cross? Everything's aligning here, and it's getting scary.
Are we finally gonna get the crash that I want? Is it gonna happen?
I don't know. I did hear though that if the Democrats press forward on this impeachment stuff and they fail, that Mr. Trump is basically going to be bulletproof, which scares me. Oh, interesting. Rob says December 20th, U.S. government funding issues.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Usually they pass a last-minute bill to just bump.
Or they don't, and then the market uses it as an excuse to dump.
It doesn't happen very often, but okay. Anyway, so I haven't quite got ready to pull the trigger on the short side, but you are warming to the idea. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Well, makes sense.
Yes, sir. Let me check. Well, the 4 hours not going to look that different. I'm kind of like pretty sure about my viewpoint here. I think options are gonna. Man, look at how this rolled over down here. This could have kept going, but they had to bring it back up. They just had to. I love how there was this 9 on the TD mark right here. Boom, stop. Just like stop. Okay, that's the S&P. Let's look at Tesla. I love. Did we talk about the Cybertruck last week? Did I mention it? I think I did. We talked about it, right?
Yeah, it's usually one of your regular ones.
Yeah, but I think we talked about the Cybertruck. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about the Cybertruck. So cool. Okay, so let's look at Tesla on the daily first, and then I'll drill down to the 4 hour. You guys know I don't like going lower than that, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the Bitcoin competition and how going lower than the 4 hour has hurt me quite a bit. So here is Tesla. If I draw it like this, it looks pretty good. If I draw it like this, it looks like it crossed over. So it's kind of a tough call to make because I like to draw it on the lowest one, and that tells me, okay, we still got some support here, which would align with what I'm thinking with the stock market, which is that maybe we need to do something like this, sit around here, and then maybe we'll eventually roll over. So I could see it doing something like this, and then maybe rolling over like that. Or, it could be if we go to the 4-hour, let me go to the 4-hour chart, because the 4-hour does not look as pretty as this daily. It would be something like this, which, gives me more. Actually, nope. If I got to draw it off here. So we haven't had breakdown yet. No breakdown. And I've got something like this. And that's it. So we're at the bottom of the range for the whole rally. It's just sitting at its support level. But RSI OBV moving averages are bearish. Histogram doesn't look amazing. This is below the VIP blue line. The only thing creating a pause for me to short this is this being at its support level for the RSI trend line, which for me is a very strong signal. So I want to wait on this Tesla short, but I do like watching it to short. So maybe we might get, see how we have this gap here. Maybe we get this gap fill, and then we roll over, and we'll probably pause here. By then, Keltner channel will be up here, and then maybe we'll bounce like to here, and then hopefully we roll over to fill this gap. I think that would be appropriate.
Check out the put open interest on the series that's expiring this Friday, and then check out following weeks. That's remarkable.
Okay.
So
Wow.
don't think there's any chance this thing going below 320 there, or what does that say?
335.
Yeah, 330. So
Yeah,
stock,
so
where's the
rally.
stock right now? Stock's 330. Exactly there.
Yeah.
And then you notice
320.
what's interesting is you go to the next contracts and all that massive put open interest disappears.
Yeah.
So my hunch
And
here
then-
is that, this is a great application of this information.
And look at the calls here and the monthly expiration.
Yeah, so
you've
if
got a
anything,
bunch of
they
puts at
probably
300
want
too.
to, by the end of the, into that December expiry. Whoops, your screen just disappeared.
Yeah,
They probably want to bring it back down to $300 there, right?
Yeah, it looks like around 300. But they could go past that and go as low as 240. Let's look at what 240 is.
It's just really interesting to see that massive open interest in this current option series. So
yeah,
not the ones that expire just here on the 6th. I thought that was.
Okay. This is the most accurate. Yeah, look at that.
I mean, look at that. I would find it really hard to believe that Tesla is going lower than that level.
Yeah, it's probably not.
So that's sort of further validation of what you were thinking, is the market's going to kind of go sideways through this options expiry.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to look at these to validate what I'm thinking.
Level 3ers just did this. Totally unrelated reason to consider taking a trade. Love it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Imagine using derivatives information against the 1%. Haha. TRA for the win. Sorry. I'll go back on mute. I got all carried away there.
I always like to talk about Beyond Meat. Still haven't tried it. Haven't. They have a Moe's Burger place here, but they don't use the Beyond Meat here. So I missed my chance in Taiwan to try the Beyond Meat. Disappointed. It doesn't look good. Beyond Meat is not looking good here. It looks like it wants to head lower. So I would not be a buyer here. I wouldn't do anything with this. I would just wait on the sidelines. That's all I've kind of got to say on Beyond Meat. It's not that interesting. I'm kind of getting bored of it. Do you guys want to? Does anybody else want to talk about any other stocks? Is there anything else you guys want me to add? Because I feel like I don't really talk about stocks that much. Oh, why don't we seg to you and you talk about that for 5 minutes?
I put myself on mute there for YouTube, so YouTube didn't hear my rant there. But
No, go ahead. Why don't you talk about that?
no. I mean,
Switch to Ryan.
I would rather you finish your report, and then I can always just dovetail. I don't want to go back and forth because then we end up getting off topic and we don't.
No,
finish
it's
on
okay.
time.
I like the dialogue. So
That's
why don't you
fine.
just show that quick?
So I'm sorry, I didn't hear your summary there on Beyond Meat. Are you thinking long here?
No,
You
I
just
wouldn't touch this.
wouldn't touch it. I did hear, for whatever it's worth, Andrew and Shane, Costco now is going to carry Beyond Meat burgers. Do we dare experiment our next meeting with Beyond Meat burgers? Let me know your
I
thoughts.
think you guys should. I think you should.
I mean, I haven't had one of these. Yeah, Khalid, you said you had one, didn't you? So I haven't had one of these things. From what I hear, they just taste like cardboard. But I don't know. I suppose we ought to try at least
Killian
one.
says taco. She had a Beyond Meat taco.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what I'm hearing from you, stock market wise, you're not overly impressed with the indexes, and there's no real stocks in particular that are jumping out at you. How about gold stocks? Do you look at gold stocks at all?
I don't really look at gold
Actually,
stocks.
throw Barrick. Throw
I
Barrick
just trade
up on there.
XAU USD.
Okay, well, throw Barrick up on there. I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are on Barrick.
What's the symbol?
ABX.
ABX. Oh, Canadian company.
You can. It's listed down in the States too. It's the biggest gold stock in the world. Whatever the hell that means.
Whoa. Okay. Let's see.
You go.
Like
Short
that.
it. Sell the damn thing. It's a piece of crap.
No, no. I can't even focus.
You don't like my play-by-play?
I don't know. For this, I don't have much with this one. I mean,
That's fine. I just randomly throwing symbols at you.
I don't have a trade with this one. I mean, it has nice support,
just for fun. Type in the browser. I'd agree. There isn't a hell of a lot here, but I'm just curious as to what your thoughts were. And
if I had to take a trade, it would be something like this. 3.65 risk to reward. Risk to this low. Take the long here.
See if you can
Set
sneak
my
in
target somewhere up here at the highs, or maybe even just at the top of the Keltner channel. But if I do it at the top of the Keltner channel, it's only 2.7 risk to reward, which I don't really like seeing that. I want to have 3 or higher, preferably 4.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now let's do what's one that we kind of like now. OCX. That's one that we were buying recently. We bought a call option on it.
What is it called? Can you say it again?
OCX.
OCX. OnoSite. That's a cool name. OnoSite. Ooh.
So,
This one looks
oh, that's
pretty.
good. You always like to hear when Julia goes, woo.
Okay, wait. Let's adjust this. Hold on. You've got this, and then you could also do like that. Wow. This is nice.
Cool. Oh, that's good. So here's a great example where we went to the derivatives market to get an idea. And, of course, 50% rules and stuff like that are way higher. But it's kind of cool to see Julian likes this.
So you took a long on this, or you bought a call? Or you just took a straight long? It's only $1.77. I'm guessing you took a straight long.
We bought call options because this was a
Really?
TRI SOF trade.
Oh, when did you buy them?
I don't know, Kevin. When did we kick around that idea? We threw in a stink bid. I think this came out
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So,
I'm actually not long on that one though. I haven't done anything with it yet.
All right, what the hell with you?
Well, I only like it in Kevin's defense. I only like it in the last couple of days. I would have said, hold your horses if you went back to the beginning of November.
Well, and again,
now-
like the whole reason why we buy this is the derivatives model, right? So it doesn't really look for market timing per se, just more what are options prices. And it's kind
Yeah.
of cool as sort of like another reason to justify taking the trade when the derivatives markets say, yeah, this looks interesting.
Yeah. No, it's not bad.
Anyway,
It's not
I just
bad
wanted to
at
get
all.
your 2 cents. So, well, what does your model say?
It doesn't. I mean, like if I draw it a little bit differently, it doesn't look amazing.
Yeah.
I'm slightly concerned.
Okay.
It's not perfect. I'll put it that way. It's not perfect. So, I do like that RSI OBV is bullish here. This is very bullish. So I like to see that. And you don't have a 9 on the TD mark or anything. It's a restart. You're at a 1. That's good. You're in the middle of the Keltner channel. That's also good. I just want to see this break out up to here. I want to get to the 60 on the RSI.
Yeah.
And the histogram, I want to see the histogram break out.
Yep.
So just pew, pew, pew,
That
like that.
probably would all. I don't know what your red
Pew.
line is on your chart, but I think that is a double bottom level.
This right here, the sell, this is
Yeah,
like
I'm
a
not
super
quite
trend
sure what
indicator
that
or
is,
something.
but if we break above there, I think she's off to the races.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think if you break above here,
Problem is
you're
that if that happens, the options prices will be way too high. So that's half the
yeah,
problem with derivatives is you got to work stink bids to get your levels right. So
yeah, you got to take that little bit of risk.
yeah, but,
You can't wait for that W perfect confirmation stuff because by the time that happens, it's over.
well, we'll see. Anyway, I was just curious as to what your thoughts were. All
Yeah,
right, so
cool.
let's pop on over to gold. What are you seeing in the gold market these days?
Right. Daily chart. Let me go to the daily.
I kind of like gold in here. It doesn't look so bad.
Gold is, look at how it crossed over. See how I have this huge downtrend here?
Yeah.
And it crossed over. Look at that. And it's trying to peak above. I did ride along from 1455 up to 14. I think I got out 1475.
Mm-hmm.
And then I shorted it at 1477. And I just closed it today at 1475. Just because I don't like what I'm seeing on the higher time frames. I was just trying to catch the retrace. I thought we would get a bigger retrace to like 1460 to 1470, but it just didn't. We didn't get it. It could still happen, but NFP is coming out tomorrow, and I really don't want to be holding gold into NFP because you know what happens when the NFP report comes out. It goes completely bonkers, and I just don't want to be in a gold trade when that happens.
Yeah, I'm
But
hearing that the consensus is this is going to be an ugly report too.
yeah, so regardless, I don't like holding gold going into that report. It's just not something I like to do. So I'm out of my trades right now. I'm just waiting, but I'm very happy with my trading account. I wish I could display my results of that trading account the way the profit and loss is displayed for this Bitcoin competition because it's so good. It really is good. And the Bitcoin competition is just crap. It's pure crap. Sorry,
Well,
sorry guys. I don't want to rant too much. I'll show it in a little bit, but it's just I'm so frustrated about that. Okay, so gold, I like it from a bullish perspective. I mean, look at this breakout above the daily. Let's go a little bit lower. Yeah, look at this 4 hour. Beautiful. And here's our retracement on the shorter time frame. I was looking for this retracement because we had this 9. We hit the 9, right? And I'm like, okay, we got to get a bit of a retracement here. And you can see on the 4 hour, we went down almost to the lows of the high of my Keltner channel, but we didn't touch it. I thought we would at least go down here to maybe 1465, these previous highs, but it didn't at all. And now we're rallying, we're rallying
yeah, look
1480.
how that thing crossed across your red line there. That's what I want to see on that little farm stock. But
Yeah,
that's a good looking little W there.
yeah. And then maybe, we could draw like an ABCD, something like
Yeah, I think
this.
that's what's going to happen. I would go off of the next high because it looks like it's a little bit higher, but it looks like we're bottoming out here on the lower
Yeah,
time
maybe the
frame.
next high a little bit higher right there. Let me clone that one instead. I always just like to be a little bit conservative with my ABCDs because
Sure.
I'd rather be conservative and set a more conservative target so I get out.
Totally.
But look at how that perfectly lines up with this fib level.
And all the pit traders and stuff like that, they watch those fib levels like a hawk.
Yeah, well, I got to redraw it anyway because this is from the previous gold levels. But if I go down here, I bet it's still. Oh yeah, look at that! Wow, it's a 50% fib level, 1500. The BFRN.
Mr. Gann's rolling over in his grave. I'm his advocate in the material world here. He doesn't like when his levels are called fib levels.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Gann. Anyway,
sorry,
that's amazing where the ABCD goes to, though, isn't it? 0.5. Look at that.
Well, it would make sense. Now, the long and short of it here is the thing is pointing up here. So where could this thing exhaust itself? I like your idea that, it's always better to err on the side of conservative than aggressive. And,
yes.
50% rule is a nice, healthy. Like, if you look at the NASDAQ today, I mean, it's remarkable. It just literally went right, kind of like what you were saying there. You wouldn't have a problem actually hitting the market now. Like the NASDAQ fell out of bed there last week, bounced right up to the 50% rule here Monday, and is just like literally parked right on that 50% level.
Yeah.
So, seeing this 50% level get hit would make perfect sense. It would not be out of the question.
Yeah, and it makes sense that gold is not going to go down that much. I mean, especially if you're saying we're going to go into this whole year of chaos next year. It makes sense that gold can rally.
Relatively speaking, the gold had the window there. I mean, basically everything was lined up. If the gold wanted to fall apart, it could, and it just ran out of sellers. And risk on, stock market went absolutely bananas there. It had its rally window, and the bonds came off, the yen came off, but the gold hung in pretty well here.
Yeah.
I still think that there could be absolute, almost like social chaos here over the next year or so in the U.S.
Because of the impeachment stuff?
Well, not necessarily that particular event, but just all of the. I mean, I haven't lived through a time where. Maybe when I was really young, I seem to remember it a bit, but it kind of cooled down by time I sort of got to young adult. But I haven't as an adult lived through a time where I've seen so much tension and really emotional responses. And of course leadership sort of is dictating that. And if things go badly,
emotional responses to what?
Well, Mr. Trump himself, he does elicit a very emotional response from people. And I've never seen that in society where, people are swearing, politicians are openly swearing at each other and stuff. And there's just, it wouldn't surprise me if this, spiraled out of control. Anyway.
See, I'm a little bit detached. I haven't been watching the news or anything. I was watching Trump on YouTube sometimes, but
well, ironically enough, that's probably the best thing for all us to do is just put all that stupid nonsense political stuff away. Because, I personally find that and I don't know whether it's intentional. I think it is, but it's remarkable to watch how he's playing the public and the market because, I've never seen a situation where the reaction is so violent from the market where, one day it's, oh yeah, trade's on, trade deal's on. Then the next day, oh no, don't think about it until after the next election is over a year from now. I mean, that's a crazy mixed message to send to the market. Anyway, I just from my perspective, and I'm just blabbing away and wasting everybody's time. Sorry, but
that's okay.
It's remarkable the time that we're in right now. It's very scary, and of course, Brian and living vicariously through Meow, his crazy planetary cycles. I know that celestially we've got sort of the deck is sort of stacked against us right now, and if somebody says the wrong thing, and if somebody overreacts to something, and maybe somebody actually dies through all this, things can spiral out of control really quickly here. That's just my opinion, but anyway.
I thought that was kind of over. I thought that was coming to an end.
No, well, Jupiter Saturn cross, which I think is the biggest celestial event, is this coming summer. So I think that's actually the big sort of event, but it's really interesting, and I've just been puzzling about it. That gee whiz, we've got this Saturn Pluto cross that historically it's remarkable when you look at the crosses and what happens on the other side, and then our whole society. You can see it playing out. That we've got this sort of millennial generation that's very computer oriented. In fact, that Cheap Go Crypto guy did a really cool video yesterday, sort of comparing and contrasting baby boomers, and he even said, like, Mr. Trump, he doesn't like computers, and all of his staffers have to carry around boxes of files on like Air Force One and stuff because he won't use computers. Everything has to be handwritten out. Just kind of a funny anecdote of the baby boomers, right?
That is funny.
But you can literally see it in our society. And of course, we are on the front lines in this crazy crypto war. And I got a funny feeling, like I just see it all over the place. All these cryptos are all setting themselves up. I might even argue, Bitcoin did come into a reload zone. So, I mean, I might make the argument that we're now setting the base for Bitcoin. It might be a few $1,000s all around here, but we're setting the base for this next cycle. I can see it happening right in front of my eyes. It's scary as hell. Anyway,
okay, so how much Bitcoin have you bought, Brian? Are you a buyer?
Pardon me?
Are you a Bitcoin buyer here?
Well, I was, I was watching this W here trying to form. And, our simple rule is we've got to wait for W's on other sides of trend lines. I'm telling you, if this W comes in here, I think we could have a nice little rally up to 10,000, no problem. It hasn't come in yet, and I think it's still doing a lot of choppy. And of course, yesterday's price action was just a big FU all over the place. But if anything, and I've got a funny chart, maybe I'll show tomorrow, the next day, of the Gann 50% rule levels all compressing, and we're coming up to some sort of apex here. So actually seeing what I saw yesterday would make sense. Like on your screen right there, you see that China event rally? In a weird sort of way, I kind of think, that big rally there. I kind of think what we just saw yesterday was just that, and you could see like a week ago, there's a smaller degree, right, that rally right in there. It's almost like an order of magnitude. And then yesterday was an even smaller sort of picture of that rally. And it just feels like the whole market is coiling into something, and it's really interesting to have your RSI study on there. Because, like I'm starting to get lots of sort of little tells that the sellers are kind of exhausted here. Anyway,
that's why I've kind of been like dollar cost averaging. I closed like I said last week, I closed my Bitcoin short. I had a short on from over 10K, and I closed it out.
It is too early. The W has not come in yet. So somebody just said isn't it a bit early? Like I said, the W has not come in yet. But if it does, look out. So
that's why I'm not going full bore, but I did close my short. Happy with that, and I am dollar cost averaging a little bit.
Okay. I didn't mean to interrupt there. Somebody just mentioned, posted there in the lounge.
That's okay. Let me finish about gold. We'll touch on the Thai baht, and then we'll jump into Bitcoin full bore.
Sorry, I'll put myself on mute, and then that way I'll shut up.
So gold's looking bullish to me, like it wants to rally. Like I said, I had a long that I wrote up here. Then I took a little short, closed that out at a very small profit, not much. I think I even took another trade that was a slight loss. So the trade in this area was kind of a wash, but nice profit here. And now I'm watching this, and I'm actually hoping that it'll come back down and I can get some kind of long fill Like something like this I'm looking for. No, no, no. I mean after non-farm payroll. You know, non-farm payroll might come out and we might shoot up, so maybe I don't get in it. Sorry guys, I gotta wait till after tomorrow. So we'll see. No gold trading for me until probably Monday, I guess, because I don't think yet all day Friday I even want to touch it. So you know, but if I could,
I don't know whether I'm giving myself permission to talk or not. I had myself on mute there.
you have permission.
I was just gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if this thing hits that objective into the event. It's a buy the rumor, then the news comes out. There's some sort of blow off top, and then sell the news on the other side of it. That's looking at your chart. That's what I'm interpreting as price action right now.
Okay, well I guess we'll see going into tomorrow. All right, Thai bot. Let's touch on Thailand just for 1 second. Weekly chart. It's turning the corner slowly. Look at this. It's turning the corner. What's that?
I just said it looks like life's gonna get a little cheaper for you.
Just a little tiny bit. I'm gonna save 5 cents on my coffee.
Woohoo!
And maybe 1 cent on some baby powder. We'll see. I'm hoping. I'm really hoping we can just shoot up to maybe like 31. Because you know stuff is not as cheap here as I would like it to be. You know, it would be nice if it was a little cheaper. Not that it really at the end of the, just so you guys know, it doesn't bother me that much. It's still compared to the U.S. It's still super cheap, and I save a ton of money. And that's the whole point of it, is to be here to build my dragon pile of money, so I can build out my portfolios and build out my retirement account and all of that, and be a responsible adult, as everyone listening should be. If anyone hasn't listened to or hasn't read Mr. Money Mustache, highly suggest it. I read his website when I was 24, and then since then I've kind of been a bit of a, you know, conservative with how I spend my money, frugal, and trying to just do my best to, I guess I like to call it like a dragon pile, because you never know when something's going to happen, and having extra cash never hurts, especially in places like Thailand. Let me tell you, having extra cash really helps here. Money talks for sure. Okay, so that's it. That's it about Thailand. Let's go to Bitcoin, crypto world. Yeah, Mr. Money Mustache, Colleen. You can look him up. Maybe, you know, if you have younger family members, send them there, because he provides some really good advice about saving versus spending and what you need versus don't need in life. I'm kind of all about like the minimalist mentality, that I really don't need too many fancy things. So anyway, here is Bitcoin. And like we said, it's looking like, I mean, Brian, we kind of talked about Bitcoin, right? So we've got this W forming. We've got no confirmation. You can see the RSI is looking like it wants to move higher, but we're still below the blue VIP line. Histogram is barely positive. RSI M moving averages, you know, we've got a divergence forming here, but it's not into the positive zone yet. So, you know, we've got a lot of potential. I like the potential I'm seeing, but we've got no confirmation almost anywhere. So this could totally, you know, do some kind of FU and then break down, and then boom, we're going to go down to what, 5,000, something crazy. It could happen. You never know. But I think the more likely move is we go back to 10,000. You know, this 50%, this beautiful 50% area. We gotta see. We gotta see what happens. Is this the daily chart? What am I looking at? Wait a second. Daily, yes. Okay, let's go to the 4 hour really quick. Yeah, I'm sure there will be some kind of craziness with Bitcoin around Christmas. They always like to do stuff around the holidays when nobody's paying attention. So on the 4
we should
hour,
probably find out when the OK Coin expiry is. I bet you we'll see fireworks around that. I think
yeah,
it's the 27th.
on the 4 hour, it actually looks bearish to me. That's interesting. we had this bullish development and then a breakdown, and now it's kind of just sitting here around the VIP line, and you've even got a divergence forming on the histogram here. So this has been like the conflicting signals I've had. I talked about, let's talk about the trading competition a little bit. I talked about last week how this was the worst time to start that trading competition, because we had just crossed over this was the daily downtrend here, and we just crossed over it, and I'm like, okay, well, we're down here, and I don't know if we're going to rally, which we did, or we're going to sit here, or we're going to go lower. It's very conflicting and very hard to trade. And then finally, we did have this 4-hour rally, but you can see we got far away from this divergence level, so I didn't know what would happen next. I thought we would have to come back down here, but I didn't know the exact level. So this happened, and then I thought, okay, is it going to bounce off this RSI level, or is it going to break down? And you can see it just sat there, and then it did a massive FU one way, and then it did another massive FU the other way. I know Kevin. I think Kevin mentioned a lot of people got destroyed in this. Look at how do you trade this? Look at that. All within a span of 8 hours, we made new lows and new highs. Like what? What is this insanity? This is why, honestly, and I know most people here like to trade Bitcoin and talk about crypto. This is why I prefer trading gold. Gold does have some FU moves, but a lot of times they're predictable and they're not this crazy. This is absolutely nuts here. I mean, what is this the percentage? This is nuts if you're trading leverage. If you're trading with straight Bitcoin, I wouldn't even, if this happened, I wouldn't even bat an eye. It's not a big deal. But if you're trading with leverage, this is lunacy. And this is just stop run heaven here. I can't believe I'm ranting. Sorry guys. I usually don't rant. I don't know why I'm ranting. I wanted to show you the percentage of the move. What is this percent here? Okay, is that correct? It's almost a 10% move. I guess it makes sense if it went from 7,100 to 7,000, almost 7,750. Wow. Okay, so within the span of 8 hours, we had a 10% move. I mean, that it's the only word I have is crazy. It's crazy. And we've got these other crazy moves here. It's kind of like, I think we're forming some kind of triangle pattern here, like this. Something like that is forming. It's coiling, and you're gonna get a big move at some point. Something's gonna happen here. It's gonna go do, and then we're gonna go either this way or this way. Lunacy, yeah, I prefer lunacy. But knowing Bitcoin, and speaking of the lunacy, we will probably get an FU move one way, and then it will go the other way, and that will be the final move. So be careful on shorting the breakout or buying the breakout. Just be careful, because a lot of times when you do that, it reverses and you get screwed, which has happened to me more than one time. Speaking of, I am not looking so good in the trading competition, if anybody's watching. I think I'm down like 35% right now, because I told myself I wasn't going to go over 10 times leverage. But then I saw when I took a trade, I only made like 5%. I was like, well, everybody else is at 70%. I need to keep up. So I have to talk about this, because this is just me being human. I'm not perfect. So I'm thinking, oh my God, well, I don't want to lose. I want to win. So I need to increase my leverage. So I increased my leverage 50 times. But the liquidation is only $100, like $100 movement, which is very small. It's minuscule. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, it is bad, John. I agree. I will talk about, Brian, did you talk about how it's kind of a scam a little bit? Did you go into that in any of the daily briefs?
Well, it is there. In fact, there was a gentleman, I think Tom, on the site, who sort of broke down how there's some sites that are kind of, some groups are kind of running algos to manipulate it and all that. So if
that's not, well, that's not blatantly obvious to me. What is blatantly obvious is that the site did not set it up as a fair competition.
Good point, John.
And some groups that are in first place have like 500 people in the group. But the thing is that it only takes the score of the top 10 traders in the group.
Yeah.
So if you got 1,000 people in your group, you have a much higher chance of winning a competition than if you only have 15 people.
Yeah, and
And you could
if you
just,
have a
you could just
thousand,
trade a bunch of fake accounts and have them, just taking trades, one way or the other way, and you could get, there's only so many combinations,
Yeah.
and if you do it every 4 hours or something, if you got 1,000 accounts, you could easily have a couple that are in the very high percentage.
Right.
So
So like my attitude is, let's not try and like win the competition, but more let's try and just demonstrate best practices.
yeah,
And
my point is that I got annoyed with it. I wanted to win still at the time, and then I increased to 50x, and I got stopped out on one of those quick, like 5 minute 100-point moves.
yeah,
So
and
right
that's
now
what
I'm down
happens to a lot of
35%.
people who come to trading. Well, your experience there is actually incredibly valuable information.
Well, that's
And
why I
I'm
kind of
not, I
stopped
don't want to
trading
beat up
Bitcoin
on
on
you.
leverage.
I don't
I
want to
stopped
beat up
trading
on
on.
you, but
Go
the
ahead.
point here is that usually what kills people in this game is this is Dr. Barry Gordon stuff, right? And I did it the other day. I didn't have my stop correct, and I actually had a trade that I should have walked away at scratch, but it turned into a loser. Why? Because I made a mistake. And again, we're not here to beat up on each other, but let's learn from our mistakes. Let's journal. Let's do demon finders so we don't end up making those same mistakes down the road. That's the best thing that I can possibly contribute to the community.
Yeah. So for me, I knew over 2 years ago that this Bitcoin leverage trading is my like super vice.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped doing that. The only
Mm-hmm.
kind of trades I would take with Bitcoin are non-leveraged, just straight, I'll buy some Bitcoin.
Yep.
I don't do leverage trades. I
Yep.
just I just don't. And if I did, it was like 5x, and it was on the 4 hour chart or higher. So then we started this competition. I'm like, all right, let me try again. Let's see if I got any better than I was 2 years ago when I tried to trade leverage on BitMEX on lower time frames with 50x leverage, 100x leverage, and the
Is
answer
that
is
some
that
good journal information?
the answer is that nope, I'm not much better.
And
I should
that's
just stick to
that's
the 4 hour and higher, and I'll keep making nice profits there. And
awesome.
to
That's
markets like the
excellent
gold
journal
market.
information. You're getting to know yourself, and that's really, really
Yeah,
good information.
yeah,
And
yeah.
if anything, it's kind of
So
good that we have these competitions, and you throw in point zero 0.05 BTC. Oh well. But
yeah, it's 0.05, big deal.
rather than going and betting like 100 G's or something, right?
Yeah,
And it just
exactly.
like for Colleen here, Colleen's learning this. The best value that we can give Colleen is, hey, everybody makes mistakes. We're all human. And half of our job is to try and figure out what it is we can actually handle and maybe not do the dishes while we're in the middle of doing one of these presentations.
Who's doing the dishes? Is
I don't
someone
know.
doing
I
that?
can hear somebody banging some pots and pans around.
I'm trying to plug in my power cord because my laptop's gonna die. Hold on one
Okay.
second. Sorry, it's
All
gonna
right.
die.
All right. Anyway, I'll put myself back on mute. Great information. And like I said, uh, the best thing that we could possibly do for these people is try and be demonstrators of best practices. And if we fuck up, we fuck up, but at least admit it. And let's try and take some
Well, don't
steps to try
don't
and.
put yourself on mute because and sorry guys, I forgot to mention this to, well, I kind of mentioned it to Brian, but I have a meeting at 1 in 4 minutes,
Yeah, well, I mean,
for
it's top of
marketing.
the hour. I think we did a great job here today.
So
Do you
yeah,
want
go ahead.
to do any commentary on alts, or shall we wind her up here? Sounds like we lost Julian. Is my microphone still working? I think it is.
It's working. I'm trying to plug in my power. Okay, I plugged it in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you want to
1
do
a.m.
any
meeting.
comment on
I
your
wanted
alt
I wanted to
index?
talk about XRP. I did just want to take a quick boo at that and talk
Okay,
about it.
cool. What's on your mind there?
Because I was looking at this and I'm like, oh well, it's making a bit of a W here.
Mm-hmm.
No confirmation, but we've got this little bit of a W coming in here and here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of alts are looking like this. I think Ethereum and stuff like that, they're all kind of looking similar to this. So my point is that I'm watching them. I've nibbled a little bit. I've nibbled some XRP, some Litecoin, some Ethereum, some Neo.
Wow.
Small amounts, 2-3%.
Throw
I think
on
in total,
XRP on your chart. XRP USD. No, not XRP. Sorry. XVG USD.
XPG.
This is one that I
USD.
think is about to take off, but we'll see what happens. XVG VVVV.
XVG, XVG.
Hello.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, wow. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, well, that's good. So and this is what I really like is a good trade is a good trade is a good trade. So if Julian pulls up, I want to hear him go, oh, okay, well, that's not bad looking.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have gotten down in here at 0.032 or even 0.037, but it's not bad. At 0.37 is a big difference from 0.045. I think this guy's calling me for this meeting. I think I have to go.
Well, if you got to hop, you got to hop. Thank you so much for your report.
Sorry. It is for TRI, guys. So.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay, and it is the top of the hour, so I think we got our pounds worth of flesh out of Julian today. Thank you.
Oh my God. All right, I'm gonna hop, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Take it easy, bud. And I want to see journals. Journal that shit.
Bye, everybody.
All right, take it easy. All right. Well, thank you very much, Julian, for the baby powder report. I'm not quite sure what I'm showing on my screen right now. Am I showing my screen? I don't know what you guys are seeing here. But anyway, hope you enjoyed Julian's contribution. I think refreshing look. I'll just take maybe just a couple minutes and wind up what I'm seeing here, just to sort of put everything in context. We see your screen? Okay, cool. And I'm not muted on YouTube, so that's good. Risk on, risk off kind of crazy conversations here. Like I said, really feeling like we're coming into some sort of apex catalyst here. In December, you can see stocks themselves are pretty sideways. Oil uppy, but oil was up quite a bit more earlier this morning, so you can see he's sort of calmed down. And I think actually one reason why oil has come back here quite a bit is Saudi Arabia really wants to get this Saudi Aramco IPO done, and it's supposed to be just some unheard of number, like $1.5 trillion IPO. I mean, just insane numbers. So in a weird sort of way, we might actually be finding that this market is being artificially propped up into that Saudi Aramco event. So that kind of makes sense too. You can see the gold is perked up a little bit more. I kind of like that idea of that EB equals CD that Julian was talking about earlier, taking us into that non-farm payrolls number tomorrow, which comes out at about 5:30 Pacific time. So all you people in Europe, you should be able to see it in real time. I'll be half asleep, but my hunch is you're probably going to get a buy the rumor and then up into these resistance levels on the gold. And then sell the news following that event, but you never know what the hell happened. Gold stocks, you can see that market's continuing to move higher, and again, sort of buy the rumor kind of idea. I like the idea of this thing popping into that event, and if it's an absolutely horrific number, sky's falling, then maybe we have some sort of blow-off finish to these gold stock moves, but we're starting to come up into those A, B, C, D objectives. Big gold stocks, the Barrick has put in the W here on the other side of the trend line, and it looks to me like it's accepting higher here. And then, like we said, Newmont kind of pissed off that Barrick has stole their thunder, announced a big share buyback program, and so it's pushing higher just on simply the company buying its own stock back and not even public demand. So, all in all, that sort of tone of risk off, gold stocks catching a bid seasonality, it seems to be working right now. All right, so that's sort of risk on, risk off kind of conversations. Has the gold maybe, like I said, one more push up higher into those reports, and I think probably will start to end up hitting things like reload short zones and stuff up there. Interesting to see the yen trying to hold above this trend line here. Of course, non-farm payrolls tomorrow is going to dictate how that sort of behaves into the weekend. And you could even argue that if we lose those lows tomorrow morning on that report, that's actually going to be a pretty big sell signal for the yen. And we might see a precipitous drop. So get ready, because I did notice that the US dollar index itself is all over the place here. And it almost feels like they're sort of backing it up, throw the baby out with the bathwater, bring it right down against key lows. That report comes out and you get some big ass fucking monster ass rally on the other side of that event. So I guess it kind of it aligns if you're thinking we have to come back down against the bottom end of the range here, and the traders are going to be hunting for longs against those lows. I got to say, I was pretty surprised about this British pound. It broke out and it's continuing higher. Any sort of short thinking here that was erased yesterday, and man, what a rally! So hats off to Goldman Sachs. They're still on the right side of the market, but they're looking like monkeys with their Bitcoin call. Individual stocks, we got a really nice treat here today. One of our stocks, the TRISOF, from the summer. We bought, and actually these aren't January, these are actually April calls, so even better. But we bought these calls back in the summer off the double bottom, and you can see the trades worked really, really nicely for us. Zach and I had a order to sell our remaining call here at $2, which is a pretty good number, and there's a pretty big gap fill here. Starting to get into a bunch of traffic up here. I don't know whether that can be hit or not, but us taking profits into that event window, I think that makes sense. And we were, interestingly enough, right now, because this option was a $3 call, it's so heavily in the money that it's actually not giving us any time value for the option. It's trading purely at intrinsic value, but as I said, Zach and I were on the offer there at $2 on this option, and the stock traded to $4.99. So I haven't gotten a word back yet, but I would imagine we're probably going to get filled here. And then I bought the stock personally in my account, and when it doubled, of course, I sold the position. So nice win all around. Feeling pretty good there. But the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. This is why. We bought these silly options at like 30 cents, and we're selling the remaining at $2. So we've done very, very well on this trade, but they don't always work out. In fact, we've had a few clunkers here over the summer, and one that we're probably gonna maybe have to sit underwater for a while before it performs, and it does happen. But this little Kirk, our furniture proxy, just got its ass kicked here today. Now, we just bought the call, so it's not like we have to dump it. I didn't buy the stock, so we've got $100 on the line here, but we're definitely underwater, no doubt here. So it just goes to show, this is why we like to buy 6 months of time kind of idea. We threw $100 at it, but like you saw in that other trade, we just took $200 in pure profits from the market. And that's kind of the way I've found that my portfolio goes, is if you build out a bunch of positions, some of them are running, some of them are just sort of treading water, some of them are underwater. If you do any kind of like what Julian was saying, this TRISOF, we don't really have to worry about dumping the position here at a loss because we only threw $100 at it. And we bought like 6 months of time. Could that $100 just disappear? Yeah, it could. But by the time we roll around to the spring, it might be interesting to see if this thing gets back on its feet. So just an interesting sort of anecdote, through the Daily Brief update report, I'm going to put one sexy winner and one sexy loser. So basically our day's a zero-sum game. The only other thing I'll sort of say, just to dovetail with what Julian was saying, was I can understand that, if Bitcoin does turn here, I can understand. There's actually, you can see, you have to come a little bit lower than the breakout level. You have to go off of the clothesline level. But believe it or not, I can actually see a 2-to-1 setup if this thing turns around and turns up through this high here. And on Coinbase, that's 78.70, so let's call it 78.75. But what's this? Why enter earlier? What's that question in regard to? Is that in this Bitcoin trade, or are you talking about the Kirk? I would not entertain entering this trade before this W fires. Absolutely not. But as I said there just a moment ago, okay, so does that make that clear, John? I'll make it that absolutely stone cold clear. This W has not confirmed yet. I'm saying if it does confirm, then to produce a 2-to-1, you'd probably have to let that breakout happen and then work your order at a level that's going to generate the 2-to-1 for you. And really, on balance, what we really should be doing as professionals here, let the breakout happen, then draw our reload zones. And if we're really slick traders, then let the breakout happen, draw your reload zones, and then be hunting for sexy little W's down in here. I mean, that's the trader's trade. If that kind of scenario happens, does that make sense, John? I'm speaking directly to John. Come in, John. John, come in. Come in, John. I don't know. Anyway, the point here is that all I just want to simply mention is, we follow this rule religiously that we're not allowed to take a trade unless we see a W on the other side of trend lines. And finally, now we're starting to see at least the smatterings of a potential W. The interesting thing, looking at the profile, you can see there's the top of value, and oh boy, there is a lot of mess in here. And it's interesting how the original trend line off of the bottom, this is the bottom, and ironically enough, if we actually just draw a simple, there is the breakout level, that's actually suggesting that we actually need to come down here. So just as Julian said, we could very easily get, yesterday I think was a nice FU. But we could very easily get like a big M that comes in here, and that actually produces a new sell signal. So please, everybody, don't assume that Bitcoin has broken out here. The only reason why I mentioned that before was just simply, we have to be cognizant of the fact that if this thing does break out, where our 50% rules, gee whiz, wicks and tails like to be eaten. You can see all the previous highs in here. Look left kind of idea. Don't be shocked, if we actually see some sort of bottom come in here and this thing turns back up and we head back up to 10 Gs. And maybe that is what actually the halvening event rally, pre-halvening event rally looks like, is just simply a rally back up to 10 Gs. I don't know. Anyway, so I just wanted to add that to the conversation. I think for the time being, this old trading competition stuff, this is an absolute mess. And what I noticed yesterday was, people who are range trading this, I think they were having just an absolute field day. Now, keep in mind, when you do these Gann angles and you change the scale, they can move around. So, I do see that the audio is still
Hey,
being picked
Brian,
up by YouTube.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. And John says he can hear me. Peter says he can hear me. Rob says he can't. Oh, YouTube's having fun. Okay, well, I think YouTube is still recording. So if anything, maybe why don't we just wind up the video at that. It's a mess out there. Be careful, okay? If anybody can hear me, just be careful. This is very, very messy, and I see GAN traders are having a field day in this kind of market, but we're stuck in this range, and you can't really assume anything from this market. And of course, the GAN angles are all changing. But let's see if we can show you a little higher time frame. There we go. We can't really assume anything until we've actually broken out of this range. So let's all just, keep a close eye on this, on the Bybit. It's 78.72. If we can close up through there, then I think, like I said, you can start seeing those W's come in and on other sides of trend lines. And now we've got a pretty good support level down here. But that's a big if right now. Okay, I think I'll probably end the video at that because we've gone probably way too long for YouTube's liking. I do see that we're still recording there on OBS, but I don't know whether the audio cut out there or not. So, okay, why don't we leave it at that? Have yourselves a great day, everybody. All the best, and bye for now.